What's going on, guys? Lou here to review the NFL DFS Week 17 main slate. Have some exciting news to share with you guys. Ended up entering 4 lineups into the contest for $80. If you watched my previous video, I threw out some names of players that I thought would have some big weeks. Those names like Bryce Young, Jonathan Taylor, Tyjae Spears. Wide receiver side, I tossed out Ryan Flournoy. The guy didn't really play. That was a bust on my part. So I'll take full accountability for that one if you actually listen to me. But then I also threw out names like Wan'Dale Robinson, who was $4,400, and ended up paying off his price tag. Went off for about 18 points. And then obviously there was some chalk that you had to absolutely eat. But I just wanted to review my strategy. Ended up placing 21st in the Millie Maker out of 132,000 contestants. Took home $1,500. So just want to review that lineup and then the few other lineups I submitted, see where I went wrong, and then take it from there. Next week we kind of have a tough slate to project. Probably some guys that are going to be playing that we haven't seen all year. Teams looking to rest guys that are in the playoffs. So difficult to project, but obviously the opportunity to win $1 million is still on the table, and we definitely want to take some stabs at that. So let's take a look at the $1,500 lineup that I submitted this week. Alright, so I kind of went with a Tampa Bay Bucks onslaught here. I went with Baker Mayfield. I stacked him with Bucky Irving, Mike Evans, and my bring back was Adam Thielen. Typically, I don't like stacking this many guys, on a single team and in a single game. But just looking at the rest of the games on the slate, they didn't seem like high-scoring games, and where the ball was going was kind of hard to project. With this Bucs offense, we know that the ball is going to go to Bucky Irving, Mike Evans, Jalen McMillan has come on as of late, and we knew that the Carolina Panthers defense is really bad. On the bring back side, we also knew that the Bucs secondary is pretty bad. It's vulnerable. My previous video, I mentioned Jalen Coker as a potential sleeper. Didn't really get there. Again, I'm throwing these guys out there as sleepers. They aren't absolute locks for me. Jalen Coker, not a household name as of yet, still a young wide receiver, but I do think he can materialize into a decent wide receiver next year, especially with the progression of Bryce Young. But outside of that game, I ended up going with Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman Jr. Jonathan Taylor, I mentioned in my previous video, no Anthony Richardson, went off last week for 41 points, had over 100 yards and 3 touchdowns. Giants' run defense has been really bad the entire year, and the offense mainly runs through him. So he was an absolute lock for me. Another guy I mentioned was Tyjae Spears. I ended up not submitting him in this lineup. I ended up going with Bucky Irving instead. Ended up paying up a little more for him, but Tyjae Spears wasn't too far off. Ended up getting 13 points, which is respectable for a $5,400 price tag. And then I went with Michael Pittman Jr. This one, the salary just did not match the talent that I know that Michael Pittman Jr. has. I think the Colts are just in a very low volume passing offense with Anthony Richardson. I don't think he's thrown for 300 yards yet, but even though Anthony Richardson is a great football player, I give Michael Pittman Jr. an upgrade with Joe Flacco at quarterback because we saw today he can still throw the football no matter how old he is. And Michael Pittman Jr. got a lot of targets, and he really paid off that price tag, which ended up faring very well for this lineup for me. Where I went wrong, and I don't entirely blame myself here, was the defense and Chig Okonkwo. If you play the should've, could've, would've game, I could have swapped out Okonkwo for Tyler Conklin and the Browns D for the Eagles D, and that would have put me at first place in the Millie Maker. Not that I was thinking about that, but just tinkering around and trying to figure out what could have got you more money is always a very dangerous game to play. But if we take a look at the guy who won the Millie Maker, a very similar lineup to mine, you'll see a lot of overlap, but you'll see that the defense ended up getting him there for 19 points. And then a very interesting construction here with Juwan Johnson and Tyler Conklin. So a two tight end lineup ended up sneaking into the first place position for the Millie Maker, and these are really low owned guys. So a really unique lineup here. Hats off to this guy for submitting it, and ended up taking it down for $1 million with about 9 points of cushion to spare. But I really have no complaints over winning $1,500. My lineup was actually duplicated with 3 other entries, so even if this did happen to be the millionaire lineup, I'd be splitting that prize with 3 others, and again playing the should have, could have, would have game. That amount of money that I would have taken home would have been $291,000. But if you did see my last video, I did recommend stacking Sam Darnold with Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson. That stack did not get me there. It was pretty expensive. The game, although there was a lot of points in the game, the touchdowns went to some pretty, unimportant players within the offense for the Vikings. Addison did get a touchdown, but other touchdowns went to guys like Cam Akers and Jalen Naylor. Nobody got a 100-yard bonus. So this lineup actually did not win any money, and it overall just bombed. And I completely ignored all of the pieces from that high-scoring game between the Bucks and the Carolina Panthers. All right, had to take a brief pause. Baby woke up after being put down for the night. Seems to happen a lot. And the best time for me to record is at night, so I'm gonna have to step away and forget where I was for a little bit. But yeah, going with this Minnesota stack did not work out. Completely faded the Bucks here. Lost out on some points. Luckily, I did have that one lineup. The other lineup I want to talk about is I had a second one that cashed. As a Giants fan, admittedly, I had some interest in Drew Lock. I had a weird feeling this game could potentially shoot out. I didn't think that Lock had the ability to support 2 receivers, so I kind of went with the Malik Neighbors single stack here. Ended up going with Justin Jefferson, Brian Thomas Jr. Kind of had like a LSU receiver thing going here. So just wanted to make that a little fun. And then on the bring back side here, I had JT and brought back with Josh Downs. I already had exposure to Michael Pittman. I kind of wanted to sprinkle in some shares. The guy I missed out on actually was Alec Pierce, who seems to be a monster now after a couple of years of not really doing anything in the NFL. Big guy, fast, good target in the red zone. So I definitely think I'll have some interest in him next year in terms of best ball. But yeah, this one ended up cashing $40. Nothing to write home about, but still a fun lineup nonetheless. And the Browns defense just didn't really pay off for me here. Cheap defense, only got 5 points. They just haven't been good all year. I don't understand why. I think there's good talent on the defensive side of the football for them, but they just really haven't done it. But it's okay. It's the name of the game. You make right picks, you make wrong picks, and just a couple picks off from winning $1 million. But yeah, just wanted to review, show you guys what I did right, what I did wrong. Again, I'm not a large scale player. I'm hand building my lineups. I don't use an optimizer. Nothing but the old noodle there. Trying to make some sense of some things here. But yeah, tomorrow I'm actually going to do a playoff best ball draft. Kind of talk about strategy there and who I like to try to take down that tournament for 500K. Ended up having my heart broken in the season-long best ball contest. Missed moving on to the final round by half a point. So we're going to try to make things right there with playoff best ball and get to the finals, because it's a good accomplishment. If you don't know the odds statistically of making it to the final round, it's less than 1%. I think for the season-long best ball, if you made it to the final round, you were in the top 99.99% of entrants. So if you did make it and you're somehow watching this video, congrats. You're in a very small group of people to do that, and we're gonna make it happen for the playoffs now. But again, thanks guys for watching. I'd appreciate it if you can like, subscribe, post a comment, share my channel with others, and we'll be right back at it next week to try to win some money in week 18, and we'll also do some drafts this week to try to take down that 500K playoff best ball. So, all right, see you guys soon, and thanks again for watching.